Welcome to the Mental Pulse podcast. Today we have with us one of my childhood friends, I guess you'd say athletes that I played against, or not necessarily played against, but had the opportunity to encounter growing up here in Huntsville, Alabama, is Jayson Swain. Welcome, Jayson.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, Jayson, to get us started, tell us who you are, your background, and what's your athletic identity story.
Athletic identity story. Well, I'm Jason Swain, born Chicago, Illinois, raised in Huntsville, Alabama. I played football, middle school, high school. I played at the University of Tennessee football scholarship. Um, Signed free agent deal to NFL. Currently now still connected to sports through media, um, several different media platforms. Athletic identity. It's a really good question because
So, to help you with that,
I don't.
Jayson, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So to help you with that, so this is kind of dive in a little bit. So you said that you played football and you played in middle school and high school, and then you went to college and played at University of Tennessee, and then you signed a free agent deal with the NFL. So let's just start from the very beginning. So how did you end up playing football? And when you started playing football, you know, did you play any other sports outside of football?
Yep, basketball, football. Those were the main two. I started playing football because that's what my friends did, and that's what you did growing up in the backyard or in the park. And so started playing organized football around 7 years old, and just continued because I was good at it, and I continued to play basketball. Same reason, and one thing led to another, and was able to use football as a vehicle to pay for school, pay for college, and now football is what I use, and sports is what I use for my career now. So it's always been part of my life. Football, basketball, sports in general has always been a part of me.
Okay. Okay. So when you started, when you went to play football and basketball throughout the matriculation of your younger years, when did you decide to just focus on football? What age were you?
I was a junior in high school. I think I was a junior in high school, going into my senior year. So let's say senior year because so I want to say 18 or 17. Yes, I think 17 years old. In that time frame, 17, 18 years old. I had played about season of football. I had gotten hurt at the end of the year. So I was really unable to play basketball anyways. And so from there, I put all my focus on football and rehabbing and making sure I was healthy. When I got to the University of Tennessee, so it was my junior year, was my last year playing high school basketball.
Okay. And what position did you play in football?
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver. Okay. And when you focused on football and you went to decide to go to University of Tennessee, tell us about your experience at University of Tennessee.
It was great. I mean, obviously there were ups and downs, there was adversity, and a lot of awesome moments mixed in. But I mean, I played as a true freshman. I left part of the record books. I also was a team captain my last year, selected by coaches and teammates. I mean, not every year was great, but it was it was awesome experience in those 4 years. So I had a really good experience.
Okay. So you actually with some record you set some records. What records did you actually set while you were at Tennessee?
Well, I was part of the record books. I left as a top 10 receiver all time and I left at like number 5 and number 6
Okay.
all time. So a lot of really good players that played before me. Being on that list is very, very humbling. You don't necessarily get on that list unless you have success early. And I was able to do that and maintain that success. So a lot of people had a lot to do with that. It just wasn't me. But I was fortunate to be in the position now that I was in, be able to look back on it now and kind of reflect and show my kids what their dad was able to do.
Right. Right. So as you transition out of University of Tennessee, talk about like where did you land? I know you say you're a free agent for the NFL. Where did you land and how did your NFL career go?
So my junior year,
Hold on, Jason. Hold on. You're going in and out. Hold on. Say something again. Hey, Jason.
can
Hey, Jason.
you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, go ahead and start again.
Okay. So my junior year, they revealed I had a stress fracture in my kneecap after a football game. Um, and going to my senior year, I had the surgery. My sophomore year, I had a really simple scope, but my second surgery was another scope. I had a stress fracture in my kneecap, so I played on that my senior year. And I pretty much knew I was on, and I knew that the duration of my career depended on my pain tolerance, different types of pain medications to be able to play at a certain level. That affected me in my preparation for NFL Combine, NFL Pro Day, physical evaluation. So I didn't get drafted, but I signed a free agent deal. Chicago Bears participated in a lot of the activities. This was the year that the Bears lost to the Colts in the Super Bowl, and I just didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I was myself, and I was dependent on these pain medications to be able to perform at a level I knew I could perform at, and I didn't want to be dependent on those medications. So I walked away from the game, and that was it. I never played a game in the NFL. I just signed a deal, participated, practice, but I couldn't lie to myself. Can't cheat the game. You can't give it 100%. You don't need to play it. So that's when I walked away. It was 2007.
Wow. Wow. So how was it? I mean, like, were you okay with making that decision, knowing that you couldn't actually play 100%, or how talk about that? Like, what were your emotions like? What did you feel like? Were you really ready to transition out of an athlete role to what was next?
I feel like I've handled myself and conducted myself in the right way. 4 years of Tennessee. Um, was I ready? No, I don't think anyone's really ready. When you grow up and you have goals of playing at the next level, and that opportunity is something that you have thought about every day, really a lot of your life when you make that goal, and you want to help your family, you want to put your people in your circle in a better place financially. So it's really big, became bigger
Hey, Jason.
than I have.
Hey,
Um,
hey, you
and
cut out.
so,
Go ahead.
no, I was saying getting to the league was about being able to take care of people around me and legacy for family at the time I didn't have. And so football's all I knew. Poured everything I had into it. I worked my tail off. I controlled what I could control, which is my work ethic and my focus and my preparation. And I felt like I gave it all that I had. And so when I had that conversation with the head coach, uh, I was at peace walking away from the game. And was it hard? Transition? Absolutely. I mean, not knowing what your next move was going to be was very difficult, and it took a while to figure that out. I think there was a peer pressure, I'm sure, and it was tough to watch football for a while. But time heals, and I got over that, and basically what I do every day now for work. So yeah, it was difficult, but I was at peace with the decision. I knew it was the right decision to make because I didn't want to put myself in a position to be dependent on medications and getting pain. Um, I saw myself having a family and a traditional family because I wasn't raised in one. So that's something I wanted to have myself, and that's something I thought about when I made the decision to walk away. Even though there was a lot of financial incentives staying in the NFL and playing and fighting through it, but I didn't feel like the money was worth it.
Wow. That's a pretty good story, Jason. I mean, the fact that you had that wisdom, the fact that you had the forth knowledge to just, you know, I mean, just the courage to actually step away. I mean, that's tough. Because one thing I have noticed, especially when it comes to men in regards to athletics, is a lot of times they just continue to chase a dream because that's all they know. And regardless of what pain they're in or what the situation might look like, they just can continue to chase it. So the fact that you had that wisdom and that knowledge, that courage, just to step away and to believe that there was something, you can walk into, even though you didn't know what that was at the time, but the fact that you had that foresight that this is the best decision, even though you had planned and hoped to have that professional career to help with the financial stability of your future family. That's very commendable of you, Jason, for sure. Definitely. So when you stepped away, and I know you mentioned there could have been some points of depressions. There could have been, just a time to actually navigate to what was next. I mean, how did you find what was next?
I was always pretty straight shooter. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. Sometimes it got me in trouble, and sometimes it didn't. Um, I became a caseworker for about a year. I wanted to help kids that was going through some of the same things I was going through growing up, and so I gravitated towards that line of work. I had a pretty young kid at the time. She probably was like 1 or 2 years old. Emotionally difficult to handle on a daily basis. So I got a message through Twitter from a radio station owner after appearing on someone else's show and asked me a pretty direct question about the current coach at the time and what was said and how I would respond as a player if I was in that situation. So I was pretty honest. I was pretty direct, really honest, and I guess that station owner thought that was refreshing, and so he reached out to me a couple of days later and asked me what I would think about having my own radio show on like a part-time basis because I was a case worker at the time. And I told him I was interested. I would love to hear what he had in mind. I thought it was a joke at first. So we sat down and talked about it. Um, days later, I had my own show, it's like a mid morning show, like 10 to 11, and that's how I got started. And I was still doing casework at the time. And after a couple months, I guess I decided to leave case management altogether and start doing radio and co-hosted the show with someone else, host my own show, um, and here we are, 13 years later.
Wow. 13 years. That's good. That's good stuff. And they say that if you kind of get out there on social media, like those type of encounters can happen, those type of opportunities can happen. And so the fact that you're a testament of that you just responded to some Twitter account and with whatever, with your response to the show or, to their show, and the fact that they took you on it, took you up on it, and now you got your own show 13 years in. So you got your own show. I think you mentioned you do some other things as well from a digital standpoint, right?
Yeah, so in 2010, I started I guess, doing radio um, for that particular station. 2014, that station basically just went under and dissolved. At that moment, I had to make a decision if I wanted to continue doing radio or if I wanted to um, change careers. I had some connections with some other athletes, and that was in pharmaceutical sales, very lucrative opportunities. But I didn't pursue it. I feel like I had a kind of a purpose doing what I was doing, and telling the story of a student athlete and sharing the perspective of a student athlete. And so I continued to do radio, and then the station went under in 2014, around early to late summer. And so where I do radio, late summer is it's kind of like getting up to the start line for a 100-meter sprint because it's right there in front of football season. And so the station goes under a little bit before football season, and I made a decision to go independent, which was basically um, do everything myself. So when the station went under, it reformatted to like a music blues because you didn't have to pay anybody to play music. So I bought airtime, 3 hours of airtime, and did my own show, still sports. I bought 3 hours of airtime. And I did that, I want to say for yeah, years all run together. I did that for a little bit. And then the station decided it was going to just completely shut down and close its doors altogether. And that's when I decided to build a studio in my house. So I built a studio in my house, and instead of being on radio, radio, and so I went all digital. I developed and created an app that people were able to listen to our show each and every day, and we've done that. Still do it now. We do it daily. We don't do it daily anymore, but we still do it. And I've been doing that for goodness gracious, probably 6 years, probably longer. But I'm kind of spitballing. Um, and so I've been doing digital. There's a time here and there I probably sent my signal from my studio to a radio station, bought a little airtime to be on traditional radio, but that didn't last long. When COVID hit, I stopped doing it, focused on being digital 100%. And so I did that, built a huge following and brand. And last spring, I was approached by a radio station in town, sports station in town, the flagship station of Tennessee. And they approached me about joining another host, co-hosting the show. And so I agreed to do that. And that's what I've been doing since last April. And I still do my own digital show. I still have my own digital platform as well. So that's the that's pretty much the story in a nutshell.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing, actually. It's not just a story, it's an amazing story. So, but also, did you say you're a sideline reporter?
Yeah, so I do sideline reporting for um, Tennessee, for a volunteer network. It's called Vol Network. It's an affiliate of Learfield, and they have a radio broadcast each and every game. So I sideline report. Um, so sideline reporter, sideline analyst, however you want to call it. But I started that last season, and so that's what I do now. Also, um, analyst for a local TV show called The Locker Room. It's on the CBS affiliate in Knoxville and two other markets outside of Knoxville. So it's syndicated in three markets in Tennessee, and I do that for 6 months out of the year. I want to say on Sundays. So a couple different media platforms, radio, and then TV as well.
Okay. Okay. Like I said, it's an amazing story. Just to hear what your past athletic identity story, but just to hear what you're doing now. So the fact that you're still affiliated with sports probably has helped you to, helped you with that identity of stepping away from the sport because you're still kind of involved in the sport pretty heavily. So that has probably kind of helped with that transition. Would you say?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's every day. I mean, I connected to sports. We talk about it every day and have to be up on the latest news and developments because it changes every minute. So yeah, I mean, I'm locked in 100% and directly involved with sports as an athlete. You learn how to um, handle adversity. You learn how to work in a team environment. Uh, you learn how to operate under pressure and perform under pressure. And so a lot of things you carry in sports to life really uh, help you and be successful and use some of those same principles that made you successful as an athlete. So that's kind of what I do. I'll try to do as much as I can.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's pretty amazing that you're able to still deal with sports because I know I love sports and hopefully one day I'll be able to do do sports and get paid and get paid for it. Because I'm an engineer by day, and so
Mm-hmm.
I like doing engineering work, but I also love sports because I truly that means a lot to me, and
Yeah,
I definitely enjoy
you had a
sport.
jumper. Yeah, you had a jumper back in the day. I remember.
Yeah, I had a jumper, man. I had a crossover too. It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a
I remember.
crossover and a jumper. Definitely mid range was my thing. I could shoot a three, but I was pretty good mid range. But as far as just talking sports, I mean, this is the reason why I started the podcast to kind of fill the gap that I
Mm-hmm.
had kind of lost by stopping the coaching because I was coaching girls basketball here in Huntsville at the time in Madison Academy, and when I had my son, it was just too much to
Mm-hmm.
continue, and so I just wrote a children's book, and then I started this podcast, and that kind of helped fill that void, that I lost or I had from not coaching anymore. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
this definitely has given me some momentum and some encouragement to look forward to the future where hopefully I will get opportunity to do something sports related and get paid for it. So, but yeah, so talking about going back in conversation when you talked about your your background, talking about the standpoint of you desire to have a traditional family, which is not what you had growing up. So from that, tell me about your support system. What was your support system like?
Um, I mean, in my eyes, it was great. Um, my great uncle raised me, and so he supported me in every endeavor that I was a part of. And you gotta have support to get transported to and from games and practice, and that's what he did, and that was pretty much it. I had a middle school coach that saw a lot of potential in me, and to allow me to be as successful as I could be. Um, I had a high school coach that also did the same thing, and so I wasn't raised in a traditional household. Mom and dad, my great uncle, one who raised me. I lived with him and his wife uh, growing up in Huntsville. That's why I was in Huntsville. My dad at the time lived in D.C. area. My mom lived in Chicago, but I was raised with my great uncle in Huntsville.
Awesome. So that coach at Grissom, was that Coach Stapler or was that another coach that you're referring to?
No, no, it's Coach Matthews I'm referring to,
Okay.
football coach. Hmm.
Okay. But he stepped in the gap, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like he was like dad, feeling a role left by dad or anything, but he's just part of my support system. He's part of my, circle that helped um, me reach my potential in high school. So yeah, I mean, he made sure that during the recruiting process that I was able to focus on the schools that I liked and not spend time on schools I didn't. He made sure I understood what a commitment was. If I wanted to commit, that I needed to commit to one school and not flip flop and do all that stuff. So he just really showed me how to handle things and do things the right way. And um, yeah, I mean, and my middle school coach kind of did the same thing for me there at Mountain Gap with helping me get to school at times. Because I started off on the bus, but didn't necessarily finish on the bus. So
Mm-hmm.
he would come and pick me up, and take me to school, and really, 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 really help and be of assistance. So it's my uncle, but it's my great uncle. So um, there's a let's see, 50, 56, 57 year gap there.
Wow.
So it wasn't necessarily a big sports fan. So like there's a lot of things he didn't know to tell me. I don't think he
Right.
ever gave me any sports advice at all. I mean, he just never followed sports. That wasn't his thing.
Right.
He just supported me. But so like I got my advice and support and stuff like that from coaches.
It's awesome. It kind of like reminds me of the previous podcast that episode 4 that we talked about the impact of a coach, and basically you kind of like confirmed a lot of the conversation that was had in that podcast. But coaches have a huge impact. I mean, they can have a positive or negative impact, but a lot of times the ones that we had growing up, Jason, they were a lot of positive. It was a lot of positive things that they did for us. So that kind of just affirmed that and confirmed that. So it's
I
good.
had both.
Yeah, both.
I had both. I had positive and negative.
Okay.
know,
But I'm sure it was more positive than negative, though.
oh, it was definitely more positive than negative.
Yep, yep, yep. So, hey, but that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I'm glad you had the support system. I'm glad that they pushed you to uh to greater, and you're definitely excelling and you know breaking boundaries. You doing some good stuff, Jayson. So, I appreciate
Yeah, I
you.
appreciate that, Coach. I give Coach Massey passed away in 2011. I want to say from bone cancer, but I remember being a freshman and had some success as a freshman or whatever. He he made sure that I had a bigger vision than just being the best player and on our team, the best player in Huntsville. He gave me a vision to be the best player in the country, being that being my goal. So we set a timetable of all right, by your junior season, you need to be you want to be the best receiver in the country, one of the top players in the country. Well, we kind of ahead of schedule a little bit. Um, sophomore year was All American, junior All American, and then the U.S. Army All American, and played in the All Star game and started getting offers ninth grade, and had every offer in the country by the time I was junior, senior, and so I give a lot of credit to him for really expanding my vision and let me. I was blessed with some God-given talent. I need to sharpen my axe and use those tools and work and outwork people. And that's what I tried to do as much as I could towards the back half of my high school career when I clicked and I figured it out. And so, yeah, I give a lot of credit to Coach Massey.
Right. So once you set those goals, I mean, you just went after them. You went after it, and just bit by bit, you basically surpassed, like you said, your goal early on, or early, yeah, because you were trying to be the best player in the country by your junior year, and you kind of surpassed that early on. So talk about the importance of goals, of setting goals.
Yeah, I mean, without goals, you're just kind of wishing, right? So the goals are desires with roadmaps. So you set a goal for yourself. Um, I won't say I put it on paper. I mean, at that time, I didn't understand the power of putting it on paper, creating dream boards, things like that. But like, I knew I wanted to be like the best receiver in the country. I knew I wanted to be the best, and that was something I worked to try to do each and every day. So um, those goals are something that I carried with me to college. You know, I tried to be the best receiver on the team, the best receiver I could be, and I control what you control. You get hurt, and you're not 100% yourself. You know, change things because you're trying to operate at less than 100%. It can be frustrating, but you still gotta understand, get in the what you got, and you control um, the controllables. And so that's what I did.
Yep. Setting goals are truly important, and it definitely makes a difference when you put the goals on paper, because, or at least have them in some type of eyesight on a daily, weekly basis, so you can kind of keep it at the forefront of your mind. So that's good stuff that he was able to, widen your eyesight, widen your vision. Because sometimes we can be so tunnel vision because that's what we think, but it's big. But when people that have more knowledge and more experience, and we kind of tap into their knowledge and experience, they kind of just make things bigger and make things more realized that, okay,
Mm.
I can do more. This was a small goal. I definitely can reach for the sky. So one last thing, before we get out of here. You say you were recruited from all over. So how did you decide on University of Tennessee?
Um, I had what I was looking for, basically. Yeah, I treated my recruitment um, like a business. I didn't really grow up as a Alabama Auburn fan. Seems like it's kind of stuffed down your throat growing up in Alabama. You got to choose between one or the other,
Yeah.
and I ain't really like either one of them, honestly. And I have a personality where like if everyone is zigging, I'm zagging. So it was easy to look outside of the state, um, honestly. So when you have a goal of playing at the NFL level, distance can't be a deciding factor because
Right.
you may get drafted to Arizona or Boston or Seattle or whatever. So like I made sure that I wouldn't allow distance to get in the way of my school selection. So I started creating a spreadsheet of what I wanted in school. I was a receiver, so I wanted to have opportunity to catch balls. So I wanted to go to an offense that passed the ball. I needed to go to a place that had a good quarterback play. Winning was important, so I wanted to have a chance to win at a high level. My relationship with my position coach was important. Uh, Stability was important, but ultimately it was all about energy, um, and just kind of following my heart. So I went on visits and went on a bunch of visits, and just Tennessee felt right. It so happened that it was 3 hours away, and once I knew, I shut my recruitment down, and the rest was history. So that's kind of how I think Tennessee. They had a track record of putting receivers in the NFL, and um, I wanted to be the next one. So I it just checked off a lot of boxes for me.
Right. Okay. I still got to say roll tide, I'm a Bama fan. A Saban fan,
Well,
I
most,
should say.
well, that don't surprise me. A lot of people in that state are, especially now. I didn't hear a lot of roll tides when I was coming out, but
I was always a Bama fan. I tell you, my husband, I always been a Bama fan. My family was Auburn, but I've always been a Bama fan. Now they kind of switched up since Saban's been there and they've been winning, but I was always a Bama fan, even when they had Kroom, even when they had Mike Shula. I was always a Bama fan. But hey, that's pretty awesome. The fact that you had a spreadsheet and you wrote down what was important to you and had to, size each college up based on that criteria. So that's phenomenal in itself. I mean, in addition to the goal setting, you actually had a strategic process on how to handle recruitment, and especially with the influx of recruiters after you. I mean, that's pretty awesome to hear too. Just to hear somebody top talent be able to manage recruitment at such a level is good. And eventually I will talk more about recruitment in the next season of this podcast. But Jason, that's pretty good stuff. I'm definitely gonna hit you back on some recruitment things and talk about that process a little bit more. So, but hey,
yeah,
Jason, that was good stuff, man. That was good stuff. And I really appreciate you being a guest on this podcast. I appreciate you just giving us nuggets and words of wisdom and telling us about your athletic identity story.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks for the opportunity and platform, and keep doing your thing. We'll connect soon.
Absolutely. One more thing. How to tell the people how to find you, where to find you at.
I'm really easy to find. Twitter at Swain Event is my handle. It's probably where I am mostly. Um, I have learned the ability to keep social media at an arm's length, and use it as a tool more now than ever. And so that's probably the most easy and direct way. But I have my own app called the Swain Event. Download it, post content there. Do a daily, not daily, but a weekly digital live show um, Thursday evenings, and so we're there. Um, it's pretty easy to find, and locally in Knoxville, 12 to 3 is a show called Josh and Swain. My co-host Josh Ward, 991, the Sports Animal. So I'm there, but I'm pretty easy to find. Real easy to find.
Okay. Well, awesome stuff. Hey, Jason, you take care and thanks once again.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Bye.
See you.